BC Cup.
Centennial Cup champions in 2024.
What's going on, everybody? This is the OJHL All Access Podcast, and Alex Bastiavansky welcoming you back. Once again, we've got the Dream Team here to discuss what went down in the first round of the playoffs and what's coming up in the second. We've got Ron Valentine, your feature OJHL writer. We've got Alan Corkum of the Georgetown Raiders and your TV. And we have got, and if I could tip my cap, I would. Congratulations to our good buddy, Joe Washkurak, the new head coach of the Caledon Admirals. Welcome, guys. Joe, how does it feel? Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's good to be back in the league, and obviously difficult moving on from the Chargers after so many years, but they have a good young team in there. They got good people over there, and I'm really happy. So I appreciate that, gentlemen.
Guys, when we had him on last, we were saying, Joe, things are going to come along, and like 2 weeks later, here we are, right? And something big came along. So congratulations, guys. We're going to discuss what went down in the first round, what's coming up in the second. Guys, we got a lot to talk about here. We made, overall, we were pretty good with our predictions on the first round. We actually called every series, I believe. I think we all called correctly. What we didn't call was the games on a couple of ones in particular. But let's start off with Trenton and Pickering. Number 1 seeded Golden Hawks against the 8th seeded Panthers. We knew Pickering was going to be in tough. I know I said there was going to be a 5-game series. I figured Pickering was going to get 1 game at the very least. I think we all called that. But guys, again, whoever wants to jump in on these, we'll do individual stuff for the second round. But whoever wants to jump in, what were your thoughts on the Trenton series, guys?
Well, thanks for having us back, Alex. I mean, we were so perfect on that first round there. Sure. I remember starting out by saying, I'm not going to predict any sweeps. And, of course, we had 3 sweeps right off the bat. And my Cougars were just outplayed totally by Milton. And Joe, I got to say, at the start of our last podcast there, you were talking about Milton, and you were 100% right. They are a team. They're going to
nailed that.
They're good.
They don't like to give up the puck. They play physical. They do the little things right. Boy, very, very impressive. Very impressive indeed. It was.
What did they
it was a fun first round series, but that isn't going to compare with what we've got coming up for the second round. I tell you.
No. 100%. Okay, guys. I tell you what. Let's leave that. We'll try to do this in order as we go through each one. Okay. Let's start just so we don't get caught up in everything else. Let's start with the Trenton Pickering. And then just so we quickly hit on each series. But who wants to take Trenton Pickering? Thoughts on it, guys? It's pretty much what we expected was going to happen. Pickering put up a fight. A good fight, actually, but Trenton just a bit too much, huh? Jump in.
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, like we talked. Sorry, go ahead, Al. Go ahead, Al.
I was going to say it was a great battle. As you said, the 5 games, the score might have shown a little bit more, but there were a lot of empty net goals scored by Trenton. So Pickering really held their own. Fought tooth and nail. We said about the goaltending maybe for Pickering might help him a little bit, and it kept them in the games, but just too much. Trenton has so much firepower, and they're just a little bit more talented Pickering. But give the Panthers and Rob Pearson a great applause for this series. They gave a fight, but just Trenton a little too much. That's why they were the regular season champions in the OJHL, and now what can they do in round 2 against a upstart team in Stouffville?
Yeah, and number 1 team in Canada for quite a bit of the season as well, right? Those Golden Hawks. So good on the Panthers in that one. JRC's Coburg, 4-1, but feisty, guys. Definitely a feisty series, no question about it. Who wants to take this one, Joe or Ron?
Well, you look at the end of a couple of those games, and you're right. It was a physical affair, and probably a little bit of frustration on the part of the Cougars, perhaps. But really, the JCs. It was a fair result, 4-1. I mean, that was what a lot of people expected, and but again, Coburg put up the fight, and a physical fight at that too.
Yep. Halliburton, St. Mike's, guys, 3 versus 6. I think we called this. We're gonna have to rewatch the last show. I'm pretty sure that most of us called this one in 6. We might have gone to 7 actually, but regardless, it was the result that I think we all called, which was the Huskies over St. Mike's. Joe, what was your thought on this one?
But just like we talked about, it was going to be a tight series, and home ice advantage won. But I was a little bit surprised. You have St. Mike's on Saturday, beats them 2-1, and what was Game 6, guys? 1-0 in St. Mike's. Like, that's really close to call. Two really good teams, two good coaches, but we did think that Halliburton would be a little bit better, and they were. Probably a little bit of an older team too, gentlemen, but it was a good series, guys.
Was that the sort of difference maker in your mind, Joe? Just a bit more experience there?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, we're going to take a little bit of time on this one. Stouffville, Wellington. And boy, yeah, I've got egg on my face. Now I think, did we all call Spirit? I know I did. Did anyone say?
I did too. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, I did, because I went against Ryan Scapp and he called and reminded me about that. So I did do that.
Right. And I'm not buying a lottery ticket because I swore that if I got this one right, I was going out and playing the lottery right away. Because I said Stouffville 7 in overtime in Game 7, 4-game sweep. I mean, none of us saw this one coming because we talked about this. It was even on points. Even in the season series, the only thing that gave Stouffville the number 4 seed was the goal differential. So we were expecting, obviously, a super tight series. That's just not what happened. I mean, they just got steamrolled, and outscored them. I don't have it in front of me. I think it was like 21-6 or something along those lines. Like, what happened? Somebody take it here. But what's your impression of what happened in this series, and why was it so lopsided when it was so evenly matched during the regular season, guys?
Well, I think Alex, the Spirit were going in the right direction, and the Dukes weren't. And those first 2 games, shutouts, those 2 shutouts in the first 2 games that the Spirit had, that really turned that series then. And nobody was going to bet against them the way they started out there. But it just shows you can analyze and look at what happened in the regular season. It's a different animal in the playoffs. So you've got one team that's going in the right direction, that's got confidence, and that's what happened. And that's why Stouffville came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually on the Stouffville Spirit podcast last week when it was 2-0 Stouffville at that point, and I was asked, "Do you think there's going to be pushback?" He also asked me about the Burlington series, but it was Ken from Stouffville, great guy, and I said, absolutely, there's going to be pushback from Wellington. This is not for me. It was not going to be a 4-game sweep, and we also know, guys, how dangerous the Dukes are in the playoffs. Like, I'm shocked also just strictly on the basis of, we know the Dukes, they're traditionally one of the powerhouses in the league. And even if they have a regular season, they hardly ever have mediocre regular seasons. But even if it's not a first place season, they always load up for the playoffs. They always make something happen. So to me, that was the biggest shocker. Alan, we've experienced in Georgetown, of course, a Georgetown Raiders team that in the regular season I think they had a better record than the Wellington in the Buckland Cup final in 2017, 2018. Wellington loaded up with junior B players and ended up winning the Buckland that year. But I mean, Alan, this Wellington team as well from past experiences. Were you not expecting some sort of pushback from them?
I thought so as well. I said I predicted a 7-game win for Stouffville. I thought that home ice advantage in the final game would be the only push ahead for them, but they did great. And the first 2 games were shutouts. What can you say? The star of the series was definitely Kyle Downey, the goaltender. 2 shutouts. He was 3-0 with a 1.17 goals against. He only allowed 4 goals in 3 games. Yeah. There's your story right there. He just stymied Wellington. They just had no answer for Downey, and I think it was Chris Mayberry who does work on their commentary for Stouffville. I think he said it was a team of no names, and they're playing for the crest in the front of the jersey, not the name in the back. They came together, but they had some great players, Riley Pope, Lachlan Wells, David Paglia, just to name a few, and they came together at the right time. As Ron said, they got hot at the end of the regular season, and they carry over to the playoffs, and they steamroll Wellington, much to the shock of a lot of pundits and fans across the OJHL.
And that overtime win in Game 3 was pretty much just the nail in the coffin. It just popped that balloon right any chance they had. So, but yeah, no, good for Stouffville. So let's move to the west here. Leamington, Niagara Falls. Again, as expected, I think we all thought Niagara Falls was going to take at least 1 game, maybe 1 game. I think I said in 5, but and it wasn't 5. I'm patting myself on the back here because I don't have my exact prediction next to me, so I'm just going to say I said it in 5. I think I did. But yeah, Leamington taking them 1 versus 8 seed. I don't think any of us are really surprised by this.
No, I don't think so, Alex. But Niagara Falls just didn't have that scorer, didn't have the sniper that could turn a game around. Parker Fallen is probably the best example on the team, but really they just didn't have it in the playoffs. I mean, they played hard, and it's the second year in the OJ, let's not forget, and they went from not making the playoffs to making the playoffs. That was obviously their ceiling, and next year, onward and upward for them, I think.
Yep. Collingwood taking on... Oh, Alan, you were going to say something? Go ahead.
I was going to say on the flip side, look at Leamington, though. They're the same story as Niagara Falls. This is only their second year in the OJHL. Last year, they went to the Final Four, got knocked out by the Canadian champion Collingwood Blues. And this year, they're just another machine. Dale Mitchell has all pushed the right buttons, and they just have so many great players there. And they're going to be hard to beat, I think, down to the – they're probably in the Final Four, and let's see where they go from there. But, yeah, Leamington is a horse.
They are.
And speaking of those Collingwood Blues, a little scare for the Blues in Game 1, I believe it was, that the Rebellion took them down. But ultimately, Collingwood turns it on, takes the next 4, and takes it 4-1. So, I mean, as expected, I think we expected a bit more pushback from King in this series, though. We didn't think it was going to be a 5-gamer. But, guys, what did you think of this one?
Well, I could go from here, like knowing the team's coaching against them. Like we talked about, like just Collingwood. I think we talked about this before, guys. Until somebody beats them, they're still the Canadian champs, right? And they lose Game 1, which probably gave them, a wake-up call that they needed. Everybody wants that. And then next games were still pretty tight, but they showed up in Game 5? What was it, 7-1? Like you don't see too many Game 5s like that, and the shots were ridiculous. And hey, they do a great job, and they're still the champs, fellas. So I'm not surprised by that. And, Mark Osmond's done a good job with King, and they have a young team too. And Mike and Campy, they have an older team, and that's what it is.
They know how to
Mark
win.
is a good GM, and he's a good coach.
Yep.
Do you think, though, Joe, that they just made too many moves, that there wasn't time to settle the team down as the season went on?
Yeah, you might be right, Ron. Like they did go through a lot of cards this year, and they got rid of Dickel. Simon Wang ended up with us and with the Oshawa Generals, which you can't, he's moving up a league. And then was it 4G? Like they brought in some ex-OHL guys. It didn't seem to work. And, maybe if they had another few weeks, you're probably right, Ron. But we played them at the end and they looked good. But, Collingwood's just too deep, fellas. Just too deep.
Speaking of looking good, Joe's looking very good after his Milton prediction, which is my segue into the next series. What's that?
I didn't predict it, guys. I didn't predict a sweep.
Well, no, but you did say your dark horse. You said absolutely do not discount Milton. We talked about how, the coaches poll, they've been consistently ranked above the junior Canadians and Haliburton County. And I wanted your opinion on that on the last show, and you gave me your opinion straight up, which was that you think that Milton is the dark horse for the playoffs, that they're going to shock people, and they took down Burlington Cougars. By the way, did Mark Juris allow you in the rink, Ron? Or
no, I'm still card carrying, but
card carrying member.
The Cougars did have a little bit of a tough break at the end. They had a suspension. Jack Churchill was suspended. Noah Garth, who was the leading rookie scorer, he ended up with a hand injury and couldn't play in a few games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no excuse, really. As I said before, Milton dominated that series. They just did what they wanted to do, and the Cougars just cannot seem to get it together when it comes to playoff time. They can look good in bunches in the regular season. They can look average, but when it comes to playoffs, they just seem not to be able to get out of this rut.
Yeah,
again, this is one of those ones. It was like Stouffville and Wellington being played so close. Burlington won the season series, I think 3 games to 1.
3-1
over Milton.
Right.
So as hot as Milton was, and as much as like we respect Milton and they've done such a great job, and we thought they should be in those CJHL top 20 rankings. I thought that might balance it out a bit. That Burlington had success against them in the regular season. Just didn't make a difference. So Milton moves on. Good for them. That is going to be madness in the second round, which we're going to get to in a moment. One more series to cover. And Buffalo takes down the Patriots 4-2. Actually, I think that one, most of us were wrong, and I think we all called an upset in that one, and we called the Patriots. So now I'm going to
I
correct
called that.
myself.
Yeah.
We did. I think I said Patriots as well, but
Me too. Me too.
Buffalo, good for them. They finished them off in 6 games. And who wants to take this one? Alan, we haven't heard from you. What'd you think of this one?
Well, I think you got to give Buffalo credit. They don't have as many stars as what the Patriots have, but they did the job. They stayed together, and I think that was maybe like king. I think there were too many moves with the Patriots. Maybe the chemistry wasn't there because they had a lot of ex-OHLers that came in after the trade deadline. They picked up Aaron Andrade, Evan Kochikaro from King Rebellion. So, and Aiden Castle, amongst others, came in. I think it was like 7 or 8 players. And they had Tedarenko from Markham, I think was another. And lots of changes there at the trade deadline. I thought this team might do something, but maybe it was just too much. I said the chemistry wasn't clicking, and Buffalo had stayed together, didn't make any moves. But players like Cam Doran, Dylan McFadden, and then Alessi, the goaltender, they stood tall. And you got to give the Sabres credit. They had a team approach. They came in, put their work boots on, and got a big 6-game win against the Patriots. Patriots are probably disappointed. You thought with all those marquee moves at the trade deadline, they might be willing to compete with the Collingwoods, the Leamingtons, and Miltons, but they just couldn't show up at the right time against Buffalo. And credit the Sabres for a big series victory. And Patriots have to go back to the drawing board with probably a lot of different players next year in the lineup for Vince Bellissimo and his squad.
Yeah, and for that, Buffalo gets rewarded with Leamington in the next round. But let's stick with we'll do the Eastern Conference first as we get into the second round now, guys. So let's start with Trenton against Stouffville, which to me is an absolutely aside from Collingwood and Milton is the one in the West, and for me in the East, it's Trent and Stouffville. I'm fascinated by this matchup. I want to see how Stouffville does against the team that was the number 1 ranked team. And in the season series, Trenton was 4-0 against the Spirit. Wow, the Spirit are cooking right now, so it's going to be interesting to see. What do you think, guys? What's your take on this? And let's you know what? How about this? Let's each do like about a minute. So Joe, sort of Cole's nose, but what's your take on this series?
I think Stouffville's got a little something going, fellas, and you know what it's like. And you've been on teams, your Georgetowns and whatever. Once you get on a little bit of a roll, you never know. I still think Trenton's just way too deep, but that's a 6 or 7 game series in my opinion, gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay, Alan, let's go to you.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, sometimes a team gets on a roll at the right time. Doesn't matter if they're first in the conference or 8th in the conference. As long as you make the playoffs, you got the ticket. You can ride. This team was middle of the pack, but they played strong down the stretch. A big sweep over Wellington. I think they're going to give Trenton a lot to handle, but as Joe said, I just think the Golden Hawks is a bit too strong for the Stouffville squad. But I do think the Spirit will definitely get a couple of wins in this series. But I think in the end, Golden Hawks are just going to be a little too much. But if Kyle Downey can stand on his head again, like he did against Wellington, watch out for the Spirit. An upset might be brewing.
Okay, Ron, what about you?
I agree with Alan. Is this as far as the Spirit can go? There's no question about it. They're an improved team. They're probably one of the best defensive-oriented teams in the whole league. But Trenton didn't finish first for no reason. They've got Teo Artichuk, who is a real game breaker. David Fournier, a strong defense, and then Ryan Sanborn, who just doesn't like to lose in goal. And they would finish first for a reason. Trenton is going to take this series, but I really think that Stouffville will take a couple of games. And in Game 6, Cooper Matthews will score the winning goal, and Trenton will win in 6 games.
Wow!
Well, you got to buy your lottery ticket in that case. If you're predicting
Good job,
straight. Okay, so round we go. Joe, how many games do you think it's Trenton?
Yeah, 6.
6. Alan?
Yeah.
Same, Trenton 6.
Okay, Ron?
Yeah, 6 in Trenton.
Trenton. I hate to sound like a broken record, but yeah, I would take Trenton in 6 games as well. But boy, Stouffville, it's been they got everything well to be proud of this season. Good for them.
Absolutely.
But guys, that is going to be a really good series. I think we can all agree on that, and it's going to be tough wins for the Golden Hawks grinding it out. Number 2 seeded Junior Canadians taking on number 3 Halliburton. I mean, these are all going to be good series. I mean, this is a really good one. In the regular season, JRCs were 3-1 against the Huskies. But let's go to Joe first. We'll keep going with the clockwise thing here. Joe, What do you think?
Wow, two good organizations, two good teams. Halliburton has just their fan support. Just for some reason, Junior Canadians just can't get people to get to Scotia Pond. I don't get it. So anybody that's listening here, go watch the Junior Canadians play. Like, that's a really good hockey team. That's a 7-game series, and that's a toss-up for me. But I'll take the Junior Canadians. That just came to me, so that's who I'm going to take in 7, though.
Joe, I got a question for you, actually, because
Yeah.
you've been to the arena in Minden, right?
Yeah.
With the Chargers.
Yeah.
Is it an intimidating atmosphere? Because I know they pack it, but I
They do.
also know I don't want to sound bad, but I say this. I believe it's there's a lot of retirees in Minden, right? And I'm thinking of my dad who goes to games, and he goes to games and he loves it and he's really cheery, but but not necessarily intimidating. Would you call it an intimidating atmosphere in Minden, that crowd, or just boisterous and really behind their team?
I would say boisterous and really love the Huskies. Does that make sense? It is a retirement type community. It's packed. They love it. They do a good job there. It's a tough building to play. It's really cold in there too, but that's just between, because I'm standing in a suit. But no, they really do a great job there, and they sell a lot of stuff, and it's a great facility. The dressing rooms are nice. And as I said before, Junior Canadians have a great team, great organization, and nobody goes. I don't get it. And I don't even think they get it. But as I'm saying here right now,
Toronto.
go watch that team. Go watch that series. Go watch that series.
I'm saying it's the fickle Toronto fans with so much stuff.
has
But
to be.
again,
Yeah,
I brought this up on the last show, and I think it's really valid. Milton has really hit on something.
Yes.
The Milton Menace, they're in the GTA, folks. They're in suburbia, and they've hit on something. They're getting over 1,000 fans to out to a game.
Yeah.
What has Milton done to now? It is okay. Milton is still a smaller community than where the Scotiabank Pond is, for example, or where the Patriots are. They're in Toronto.
Tough to get to. Parking's terrible. Let's face it, it is, guys. Right?
Right. But they've shown that there is something you can, there's something that can be done. But anyway, I digress. Alan, take us through JRC Halliburton. Just Cole's notes. What do you think is going to happen here?
It's probably going to be even a better series than Trenton Stouffville, even though I think that's going to be a marquee matchup. But I think you had a couple of veteran offenses. You got some goaltenders that are looking to prove something. I think Halliburton has the edge in goal with a couple of veteran goalies in Hodges and Total. Whoever gets to play Hodges has been, I think, carrying the load right now for the Huskies. So he did a great job against St. Mike's. Junior Canadians have Emir Velunin. I think I said that right. Hopefully I got it right.
Yeah.
No,
he's been doing great when he came in from.
Yeah, that's him.
What's that, sorry?
Yeah. Just say it fast. Just like Worcester Fire. Just say it fast.
All right.
Yeah.
But he's been doing a great job. So for the JRC, so I think they'll do well. I mean, they're going to have a lot of great offense. I mean, you have Christian Lamanna, a former Raider, who's been doing well. You have Nathan Phillips, who's done well. I mean, even their defenseman there with 10 assists. We try to name him top. Look right now. Luca Graziano has had a great playoff as well.
Yeah, he has. Yep.
I think it's going to be the same as what Joe said. I think it's going to be a 7-game series, and it's going to be the home team coming out. But I think Halliburton's going to get some wins. It might be a home series. The home team might win every game because I said Halliburton said the fans are loud and passionate in Minden. I think they might drive their home team to win. I know they don't get the support in Junior Canadians as well, but I think that home ice, the last change, might work for the Toronto advantage. So I would say the JRC's in 7, but it could be a coin flip if the Halliburton get the veteran goaltending that they have. The goaltending's a little better, but I think the offense is just a bit better than Junior Canadians. They have a lot more weapons, but Halliburton might have something to say about that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, Ron, how about you?
I was thinking possibly David DeMarinis must be in line for Coach of the Year this year for what he's done with the JCs. As Alan said, they've got Graziano is 10 points for defenseman in the series. Graham McCauley and Milton's the only one who's got more points by defenseman. He's got 11.
Yeah.
I really think this is going to be the series for the Huskies. They're a little bit of a different kind of a team where they rely on former OHLers a lot.
Yep, they do.
They rely on a veteran presence. Tyler Hodges is back for his second stint actually with the team. So and he is playing lights out. And if he falls, then Stephen Tontle is just ready to take up the slack, as Alan said. this is going to be a 7-game series with Nathan Paul scoring the winner for the Halliburton Huskies in Game 7. Paul is a game breaker. I know he hasn't done too much in the last series, but when you get a guy like that, Colton Smith, Nathan Paul, who know where the net is, and given half the chance, they'll find it at a time when they need a goal. And could go either way. I'm going with the Huskies in 7.
Wow, Ron's just laying it all on the line today. He's got a shot of confidence. Not that he ever lacked confidence, but man,
I got to make up for all those mistakes I made in the first round, Alex.
We didn't make any mistakes. We only called one series wrong.
I said no sweeps.
You did say no sweeps. Well, I think we all didn't think there was going to be any sweeps.
I also said Cougars as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's interesting. I mean, man, you look at the regular season. Nathan Phillips was the top scorer. And you think about the JRCs who have put so much offensive talent out there over the last few years. And yeah, I mean, Phillips with 57 points was 30th overall in the league in the regular season, and he was their top scorer. So it's interesting. And I had Jared Klingman on a few weeks back, and we talked about that. And I asked him compared to Canadians teams in the past that should have won the title, maybe. And he said different, different, but really, really good balance on this team.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, so it wouldn't it be interesting if this is the year of the JRCs, with no real huge marquee player end up like going all the way? Like it would be crazy, but I think it's going to be a really good series. I don't know why I'm feeling JRCs in this one. So I'm calling 7 games, and I'm saying JRCs in this one. Top 20 for most of the season and everything, and just got a good feeling. So let's go around here. Ron already said his. Joe, what's your take? How many games?
I said the Junior Canadians in 7 too.
Okay, Alan, did you say?
JRC in 7.
All right, so let's take a look at the Western Conference then. And Leamington, Buffalo, the number 1 seed against number 4. The Flyers were 3-1 against the Sabres this season. So Leamington just doing what Leamington does. What's your take on
really
this? Which is really good. We know they're gonna get crowds for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Buffalo again. It's probably the worst attendance in the league, gentlemen. Am I wrong? Like, my older team wasn't great, but Buffalo's got one of the best facilities and just tough place to get to downtown. Like, they just don't get people. So again, Buffalo people, go and watch that team play. They're good.
They don't charge admission. At least they weren't.
No, it's free
in regular season.
Yeah.
So.
No, I don't think they do, Ron. That's well said. Well said.
Yeah. Well, we know Leamington's going to get crowds. That's for sure. Yep. Joe, what's your take on this series? Can Buffalo knock them off? What does Buffalo have to do to make this happen?
Buffalo's on a nice little run. Both goalies have played well in the series. They went to is it Alessi? Is that how you say his name? Yesterday and won, but Grover's been good. I just felt that their top players were better than the Patriots' top players, in my opinion, in the last series. But unfortunately, even though Buffalo has some really good players, McFadden, Dorn, Seitz, Isherwood, we've talked about that. Just Leamington's top players are just better. Does that make sense, guys? And I'm a big Sean Wallace fan, but that is really going to be tough to beat that hockey team. And I just don't see that happening, guys. That's just my opinion.
Okay. And Alan, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo, they had a great series win, hard fought against the Patriots, but I think Leamington's a different animal. And I definitely think Buffalo's going to get one. It won't be a sweep because you know how Buffalo can be the home ice advantage. So to say, Joe, the home ice advantage.
We can't talk about that.
That'll get Buffalo one win, but I think that's probably all they're going to get. Leamington just has so many weapons. You have Colton Smith. You have Ethan Walker, who came over, former Burlington Cougar, played for Lindsay.
Yeah.
You have Michael Denny. You have I'm trying to think who else top of my head. Chara Mataro on defense. Marcus Brown is always exciting as well. And a goldtending of Marcus Vandenberg. He had an outstanding season. That's why Trey Ultimate was expendable to go to King. Because Vandenberg was they were 1-1A. Vandenberg just took over the reins, and he was 4-0 with the 2 goals against in that first round series against Niagara Falls. So I just think Leamington's just too much. They had a great stride last year in their first season after winning the Junior B title coming up. Went to the Final Four last year, and I think they're going to make their second Final Four appearance this year. Buffalo, it's been a great season for them. Like I said, Sean Wall is a great coach. They have a great team atmosphere, team mentality in Buffalo, but Leamington's just on a different level right now, and I
agree.
Buffalo has much of a chance. I give them one win.
It's
probably all they're going to get, unfortunately.
Okay, and Ron, what about you?
On that 2023 team where Leamington won the Sutherland Cup, Anthony Chumataro, the captain Adrian Bozef, and the Grundon boys, Gavin and Griffin Grundon. They were 4 guys that got rings for the Sutherland Cup, and I'm sure they'll be the 4 that are getting behind this team and saying, look, we got one, I want to get another ring now. OJHL. They've got, as you said, they're probably arguably the best goalie in the league, Marcus Vandenberg. They just get it done. They just get it done. It doesn't seem to matter what the score is. It doesn't seem to matter how things are going. And they've got Braden Degeler. He's got 2 game winners in the series, in the first series. And I'm predicting that he'll get the game winner in 6 games for Leamington.
Okay, and I'm real high on Leamington this season. You could say I'm flying high. But that's
Bass.
I know the cheese is just coming
some
off.
Ozzy
I had to do it. It wasn't pre-planned, by the way. That was just spur of the moment
So
kind of thing.
it's even worse now. Then
I would be fascinated. If Leamington was to go and win the Buckland, I'd be really interested in seeing if in the history of Junior A hockey in Canada, aside from, of course, when you have a league like when the OJHL went from the merging of the leagues and became Junior B from one season to the next. If there'd been a Junior B team that had gone, made the move up to Junior A and had won a title within, say, 2 years or something like that, if Leamington was to do it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'm high on Leamington. I think that they've just looked so good this season. And to be honest with you, the way it stands right now, it's Leamington's my favorite to go all the way at this moment. So, needless to say, I would be taking them in this series. I think it'll be 6 games. I liked Buffalo's pushback. I like what they did against the Patriots. I think the Flyers are a bit too much, though. So 6 games for me. Joe, you said how many games it was? You said for you?
They have a little bit of stuff going. I'll take it in 6-2. I'll go 6.
Okay, Alan.
Sorry to my friends in Buffalo and so to the board. I'm going to disagree with the number of games. The right team, I'm going to say Leamington. I'm going to say 5. I just think Leamington's just too powerful for Buffalo. They'll give them a fight, but
that's fair.
The Flyers just too much. Maybe a couple overtime games there, but I think the Flyers. Well, as you said, Alex, fly high in this one.
Okay, and Ron, now hold on. Are you Ron? Did you predict someone who was going to score a winning goal in what game in this one too?
I did actually. Braden Degelas scores the winning goal in Game 6 for Leamington. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay,
nice.
And then finally, we've got. For me, this is probably the biggest series overall. I mean, this is monstrous.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think. Collingwood Collingwood last year knocked out the Flyers in the semi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it the year before they knocked out Milton in the semis in the conference finals?
I think so.
I know they did. Anyway, I know there's history there with that. I might be getting my years wrong, but this is just going to be unbelievable, this series, I think. Number 2, Collingwood. Number 3, Milton. Blues had a lot of success against Milton in the regular seasons, guys. Undefeated. They had 3 wins and a tie against the Menace. Ron, I'm assuming you're going to make the trek. Alan, I know you're going to make the trek. And Joe, you're not that far either.
No, not to Milton. Yeah. It'd be tough getting in the building. Make sure you guys go early. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
And now
covering for your TV.
Oh, great, of course.
Well, we have a man in the back door.
Alan, you get a free seat in. Beautiful. Yeah. You're going to be right up against you, though, in that booth in Milton.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It'll be tight in the
stands? Are you still calling it from the stands? Is that what it is in Milton still?
Yeah.
I remember back in the day. Yeah.
I think so.
I'm not sure yet if I'll be doing play-by-play or hosting. So if I'm hosting, I'll be down against the glass. I might be jammed against the board. I'll be getting hit like the players.
So, Joe, Milton, you said they were your dark horse.
Wow.
This is it, man. This is the time to prove it. against the two-time defending Buckland Cup champs, the reigning national champs. What do you think in this series?
Well, as you know, I'm obviously going to, take Milton as much as probably Mike Tarantino, my friends over in Collingwood aren't going to like that, but I just think they have something going, and they just played so well in the first 4 games, and Collingwood's a great hockey team. Like this is really a flip, but this is just Milton's year, and I'm going to take them. I've told everybody I think they're a dark horse to a certain degree, and I say they're going to beat Collingwood this year. That's my prediction.
Okay. Alan?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very tight and everything. I mean, these two teams were dominant in the first round. I mean, Milton were led by their captain, Graham McCauley, who leads the playoffs in scoring right now with 11 points. And Matt McDougall with 10 points. Luke Johnson with 9 points. Justin Zodi had 9 points. So they're veterans. The players they brought in to do this have done the job for Milton, along with their coach, goalie Carter Bickle. He has major junior experience. He played for Joe's Oshawa Generals, Charlottetown Islanders. It was a little rough start with King this year, but then they brought him to Milton, and he's just been on fire. And he outdueled Michael Newlove in the first round, and I think he's going to continue it. But not to take away from Collingwood, they're the team, they're the champs. Until somebody beats them, the champs are here. So we'll see what happens. But they have Marcus Lougheed, Sander Vecchia did very well, and among others, I mean, you have Damon Booz, that's the one, and then their goalie. From Georgetown, Noah Tegelar brought in early in the season. He's been a rock in the back end for the Blues as well. So it's going to be a great goaltending series. They have so much offense, these teams, but it's going to score against these two goaltenders? I don't know if it's going to be any high-scoring games. A couple of games in the season series weren't there. I think it was a 1-1 tie, a 2-0 Collingwood win, and a 1-0 Collingwood win. So goals were few and far between with these clubs in the season. So might be a tight defensive series, or never know. Might be run and gun. We'll have to see, but I expect fireworks between these clubs, and the Madhouse and Milton will be rocking. So will the Eddie Bush and Collingwood. Two packed arenas. It's going to be awesome.
It will be.
Ron, what are you thinking here?
This is going to be the series, I think. And Collingwood picked up a rookie centre iceman by the name of Will Hughes, and he's been flanked by the two Collingwood local boys, Boos and Lockheed. And that has been a sensational line for Collingwood in the playoffs so far and for the end of the regular season. They're the champions. They're the champions until somebody says otherwise. But Milton has got game breakers galore. Luke Johnson, Ryder Cali, who is a standout, but on that Milton team, he's not a super standout because you've got so much stuff going on there. Justin Desuiti, as Alan said, who's got a NHL quality shot. The two goalies are going to just battle it out. Bickle was excellent against the Cougars, and we know what we're going to get from Tegelar for sure. To me, this has got 7 games. I hope it goes 7 because the more you see of these two teams, the better. I've got Daniel Markovic scoring the winning goal for Collingwood in Game 7.
Ron is just fearless.
He's on fire. He is on fire today.
He is. I think that this is the most solid Milton team I've seen since they've been in the league. And I just still find it interesting they flew under the radar for, on the CJHL basis. What do they have against the Menace? Honest to God. It's one of those things. Ron actually emailed them, right? So I think Andy Harkin lives in Oakville, by the way. He's not too far from you, Ron. You can go talk to the commissioner. Go have a conversation with the CJHL's commissioner about that.
There goes my CJHL pass.
Yeah. But you know what? First of all, what a great run calling it. If by chance it does come to an end, what an incredible run, and what a representative they've been for the OJHL. The crowds they've gotten, the way that organization has been, Mike Tarantino and Campoli, what a fantastic job they have done. And national champions last year. This is honestly, to me, almost like a coin flip series. There's just something for me for this Milton team that's just really, I don't know. I've really liked it. They're clicking. And I'm calling Milton in 7. I'm not like Ron, going to pick a guy to get it done, but I'm calling in 7 games. So one more time, let's go around. Joe, how many games for who?
I said I had Milton in 7. Yep.
Okay, Alan.
It's like the Canucks did to the Blackhawks years ago. They have to slay the dragon. They slayed the Blackhawks. That was their nemesis. I think the Menace will slay the Blues. It's going to be a fantastic series. I'll go with Ivan Fabjan with the winning goal in Game 7. Metness in 7.
Wow.
That's in 7. And Ron, you were
the Blues in 7.
Well.
And just a shout out to that Blues organization. The volunteers they've got up there are just phenomenal. They've got so many on. They work so hard, and that's what makes the team. And Joe was talking about how teams are successful. Same thing in Milton too. You look at all these things. Why can't North York do that? Why can't the Canadians do that? Why can't the Patriots do that? You know, it's easy to say, well, we're just going to open the door and play hockey. You can't do that anymore. This is a new era. This is the era of everything being, on social media. Yeah. Some teams do a good job on social media. Some haven't updated their site in like 3 years. So all I can say to those guys is, come on, get with it. But these 4 series that we're talking about now are all going to be dynamic series. If you could watch every single game, I mean, they are going to be super. There's no question.
Do it.
I mentioned before, but when we were doing the CHCH Game of the Week, which Alan did for a couple of years, Alan, or was it 1 year that you did it after
2 seasons?
For 2 seasons, yeah.
One with Jack Moore and the other with Rod Black.
Great job.
Right, that's right. Yeah, and the 1 year that
Thank you.
The last year that I did it was right into COVID. The last game that we did was in Collingwood that season. And listen, every rink treated us great when we would come in. Collingwood was just next level. Yeah. Absolutely next level. Dave Steele and the folks there and the volunteers. And man, they just took such great care of us. And the fans were phenomenal. So, I've got all the time in the world for Collingwood. Listen, this series could go either way. It's going to be so much fun to watch, though. So, you guys are there. I'm hoping you guys are going to get out and see a bunch. If I was, geographically able to, I would be getting out for these games as well. So it is going to be a ton of fun. Thank you guys for taking the time today. We're obviously going to do this again for round 3. But round 2 is going to be dynamite. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen.
Yep. And thanks, everyone, for taking the time to watch and, of course, just stay up to date with everything that's going on all throughout the playoffs and for all kinds of great reels and, highlights and feature stories from Ron, all that good stuff. Just be sure to check out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.